Hi, everyone. Thanks for the invitation to Ken and Reg and Dan to join y'all today. So I just want to try to briefly go over and just paint a picture of what our role at NOAA Sea Grant is with supporting marine finfish aquaculture development in the U.S. and also our future investment strategy. Specifically, we just came out with a 5-year aquaculture funding plan, which touches on marine finfish development as well as other species that we support. So I won't read every bullet point here, but these are recent competitions going back to fiscal year 2020 that touch on marine finfish in some way. We had a competition in 2020. It was entitled Addressing Economic and Market Needs of the U.S. Aquaculture Industry. Actually, that's going to be showcased on Wednesday at 1:30. We'll have a special session. These are projects awarded to various states that touched on marine finfish aquaculture development. So you'll see there's a number there that touch on different species as well. In fiscal year 21, we funded the Aquaculture Information Exchange. They don't have a booth here, but if you're interested in signing up, there's the address, and you can basically just Google Aquaculture Information Exchange and it'll take you to the sign-up page. There's currently over 840 members, I believe. Most of them are focused right now on the marine finfish aquaculture, or marine aquaculture in general, coastal and marine, but the community's growing. This was jointly funded through USDA, NIMS, USDA, ARS, and NEFA, and also Sea Grant. And so this is the entire aquaculture community, not just marine. This is freshwater as well. So we're trying to reach out more and more to the freshwater community and industry. They don't have a booth, but they are at the NOAA booth. Yeah, they're at the NOAA booth. They do have a representative, Joe Caterine. He's the community manager, so he'll be in and out of the booth there. And there's some materials I think you can get. Also in fiscal year 21, we had a competition to establish a aquaculture coordinator to better connect Sea Grant and NCOS, our National Ocean Service, their coastal aquaculture planning tools, to get this information out to Extension. As Mike was talking about Extension's role in the development of marine aquaculture, this is basically to get this information to Extension that then can be transferred to the industry. It's centered mostly on the aquaculture opportunity areas, and as such, there's a series of workshops that are part of this project. There's been one that was held in the Mid-Atlantic region. That was a pilot workshop a couple of years ago, and then there was one in coordination with the Aquaculture America meeting last year in New Orleans to serve the Gulf. There was one recently, held back in November for the West Coast. There's been a virtual workshop as well with Extension community across the nation, and there'll be more of those. Future workshops will be in Alaska, Pacific Northwest, and also Hawaii. So in fiscal year 21, there was a couple of projects that were funded through our competition addressing COVID impacts to seafood resources. And then in fiscal year 22, we focused specifically on marine finfish using this list of 18 to 19 species, right? And so there were 4 projects funded, one on California yellowtail, one on Seriolas in general, one on Seriola larval production with a Seriola focus, and one on the striped bass as well, the striped bass hub to help that effort keep going. We also had a competition in fiscal year 22 focused on early stage propagation strategies. This included marine finfish species outside of the list of 18 or 19 species So we funded a project on clownfish. We funded a project on for sea lice biocontrol and Atlantic salmon, and we funded another project that's involves multiple species. It's focused around utilizing public aquariums to bolster marine finfish production, primarily early development stages and juveniles. Fiscal year 22 also, we established in fiscal year 2019, we established 11 aquaculture collaboratives or hubs. And so we had a competition to extend these hubs. All 11 were successful. 2 of them are finfish based. The RES, Recirculating Aquaculture Systems, Salmon Network, referred to as a SAS2 project. They received USDA funding as well based on salmon research production, and also the Striper Hub. And we do have an aquaculture supplemental funding program that's open to Sea Grant programs. Basically, it's 50% of all aquaculture related projects that were funded through the omnibus programs, the biennial competitions from state Sea Grant programs. So they're eligible to receive 50% of funding to go back into aquaculture. So we had a number of projects funded there. In 23, we had aquaculture workforce development projects, and so several programs were successful in getting those projects up and going, focused on marine finfish. There are other projects as well, focused on different species, such as different categories such as shellfish and macroalgae. We established an aquaculture economics and markets collaborative or hub in fiscal year 23. That hub is up and running now. A portion of that hub will focus on marine finfish aquaculture economics and marketing. Aquaculture workforce technologies and travel grants. We initiated this program last fiscal year, where this is going to be a yearly offering. This can involve marine finfish as well as other aquatic species. Two programs, not marine finfish, but finfish in general, from the Great Lakes programs, or from 2 Great Lakes programs. We had the Sea Grant program, marine finfish, aquaculture-related funded projects. These are the biennial projects that I mentioned earlier. And so there's several programs that have projects focused on marine finfish. So it's a pretty wide scope. And then fiscal year 24, we received these projects coming in that we based our aquaculture supplemental funding on. So it's pretty diverse. And so now I'll jump to the 5-year aquaculture investment plan that we developed last year. Took us about 9 or 10 months to develop this, but it'll be a work in progress. But we want to get something on the books to allow folks to better apply for grants, right? Make it more convenient, make it predictable and flexible, and that was our main goal. Develop a plan for consistent, reliable, and recurring opportunities for coastal and also marine and also Great Lakes aquaculture, since we do service the Great Lakes region with Sea Grant. So our background to develop this plan, we started back in March of 23. Again, our goal was to be predictable, allowing flexibility as well going forward. We gathered feedback going back about 5 years. We looked at previous awards for patterns and information gaps, identified priorities, and we started talking about eligible topics, eligible applicants, timing of the release of these funding opportunities, and other factors as well. The resources that we looked at was the Sea Grant 10-year aquaculture vision, the needs assessment that was developed year before last, the recent 23 to 28 strategic plan that Sea Grant developed, also the NOAA Aquaculture Program Strategic Plan. We looked at congressional language regarding appropriations from recent budget cycles. And so we're taking a shotgun approach, and whether we keep with this, we'll see as we go, but we wanted to start with this. And so there's a lot of topical areas with funding opportunities that will be coming up. from production methods and systems, travel opportunities that I mentioned, education literacy, mentioned the aquaculture collaboratives, workforce development, legal, economics and markets, processing and food quality, among others. Social license is one that wasn't listed, but we'll be covering that too. So this is our plan by fiscal year, depending, I should have a little asterisk, depending on appropriations, of course. Hopefully, you know, with what we have currently, we can go forward, hopefully for 5 years if the well doesn't run dry on that. Basically, we have 3 open opportunities, well, 2 open opportunities and 1 recently closed. So this is a national, NAI's National Aquaculture Initiative. So this is kind of modeled after the SK funding opportunities. So basically, this is going to focus on this NOFO, or Notice of Funding Opportunity. This competition is focusing on improving aquaculture production of any life stage. So it's very broad. It's open to all species, preferably species that are at a commercial level or a near commercial level that shows promise. So we received a lot of interest in this. Our letters of intent were due back in January, last month, about a month ago. We received over 160 letters of intent with our total request of $103 million, where we put in the pot for this one $6 million. So it's pretty competitive, right? So going forward, we'll have this every other year. That's our plan, so every even year. So it'll allow predictability. Oh, Sea Grant's they're gonna have a production NOFO coming up. So I'm gonna talk to John over in Alaska, you know, I'm gonna make some contacts, I'm gonna get going, right? So that's predictability there. But we also have flexibility in this. If we do see a demand for a certain area, we can focus on that. We can write guidelines like SK, right? So that's our plan for that. Aquaculture supplemental, I mentioned that earlier, that's every 2 years. The technology and travel grants, that's annual. We plan to do that. The aquaculture internships program, we haven't put pen to paper on that. We're getting information. We want to start that out as an annual opportunity to fund probably 3 or 4 internships programs for a period of up to 3 years, so they can overlap, so they can keep going, right? So we'll be developing this, and we might not get it out this fiscal year, but probably early in fiscal year 25. So that'll help out, I think. Opportunities is needed. I'll talk about the aquaculture collaboratives, but we do have an open competition for research, for communications literacy, establishment of 4 regional communication literacy hubs, and that will again affect or include marine aquaculture in some fashion, at least with some region. For odd years, we'll have another national aquaculture initiative be focused on business support in general. This will include economics and marketing, workforce development, aquaculture literacy and education, social license, business planning, you know, the whole gamut there. So that'll be open to, initially to be open to all species, preferably again commercial or near commercial. Again, we'll have collaboratives. We plan on funding up to 3 to 4 aquaculture hubs at probably a little over $1 million, 1.2 million perhaps per hub, and we'll either come up with topics or we'll have an open competition like the original 11 hubs that were established. We'll have the travel grants. We'll keep the aquaculture internships program coming on, and then we'll have a legal issues competition every odd year. So that's a plan in a nutshell. 2 minutes. Give me a peace side. So our opportunities again, supplemental for the programs. That's due the middle of April. The technology and travel grants, that's due to Sea Grant. This is only applicable, or the only applicants are Sea Grant programs. That's the travel grants, that's due March 20th. The Regional Aquaculture Communications Literacy Collaboratives, that's due the 10th of April. In our production, That's due the 3rd of April. And then again, we're planning ahead for the aquaculture internships program. Here's our funds to close with this. And if there's confusion, it's on my part because Mark came up with this slide. He's the numbers guy, right? So we think we'll have a little bit down from last year's appropriation. We had 14 million last year, but this year we'll have 13.5, and this will translate to about 12 million after taxes and other fees, right? So we'll have 12 million to work with, and then Mark calls this secret spending. We'll have approximately 10.5 from the Sea Grant base. So about 2.6 million a year is spent on programs of this is spent on programs working with aquaculture. And so we incentivize this through aquaculture supplemental. So all in all, we'll invest around 15 million a year, hopefully over the next few fiscal years, not all again into marine finfish, but coastal marine Great Lakes aquaculture, which will include finfish. And so we do have a requirement of 50% match. So if you take this and bolster it up, it comes out to be roughly around 22.5 million a year. Sea Grant funds investments from Sea Grant funds into aquaculture. So that's about it. Any questions? Yes, go ahead.
I kind of missed your number earlier when you were talking about the aquaculture internship programs. Do you have any idea as of right now, like how many individual grants or internships, like how many people are going to be able to benefit from that per year?
Yeah, as far as entities to apply for, we'll probably have around 3 to 4 awards, maybe just 3 awards every year. Right, we'll have a competition again every year. We'll select, 3. The review panel will select 3 of those or 3 of those proposals, and then, hopefully we'll be able to perpetuate that. Like if they write a 3-year project, they can reapply again in year 3, right? And be competitive and keep it going. And as far as individuals, we're still up in the air about, we have made the decision, we want to have this all the way from high school to post-grad, basically, to get folks experience out there in the mud, right? I mean, so that's what's lacking. And we got this idea, it was at the National Shellfish Fisheries Association. We had a federal town hall, and there was a lot of students there, and they were talking about, well, I can't get experience. I'm trying to make ends meet. We want to have something that the industry will benefit from, quote unquote, free labor. You're gonna have to train them right, have to do other things. But the students will get, free experience, basically. But we're working through logistics, like how are we gonna do this, like with liability insurance. We don't want to kill anybody, right? We want to get experience, but we don't want to hurt them. Anyway, any other questions? We got time, or?
Yeah, I think we're probably.
All right.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
I really appreciate it.
Welcome, man. Thanks.